You there? Yo, what's going on, Shield Squad? Welcome back to another JCTCG video where we talk Pokemon collecting, the market, just overall making better plays, right? Let's get to it. Today, I want to get in here and just talk about sourcing, right? If you are a small business, if you are even a collector that just grades cards, your biggest issue is always going to be sourcing more product, right? So from my experience, being a very small business slash collector slash vendor slash investor, whatever you want to call it, right? The biggest issue is just going to be sourcing clean, raw Pokemon cards, right? So that is always going to be a bottleneck as long as you don't have distribution, right? So I know you see all the clickbaity YouTubers that talk about running, large businesses and, multi-six figures and, running, trying to teach other people how to become a business. Hey, look, if you don't have distribution, you are going to struggle, right? First things first, you are going to have to go on the second market. You are going to have to pay market price. And most of them don't cover this, right? So one of the reasons I want to just, bring this to light is because I've experienced it, right? The best way to navigate this, if you are a very small business, is to just simply take bigger chances, right? You have to take risk, even though it goes against the narrative, right? Seldom, you may every now and then find collections at a discounted price, right? So that is probably going to be one of your beginner options, is to look for lots, right? Or collections on eBay. Try to get them at a discount and put them back on the market for a very small percentage, right? Get anything that seems gradable, send it to get graded. However, that is now a big issue given that PSA has shut down their lowest tier values and you have to pay $80 a card for bulk, right? So as of right now, if you are a very small business without distribution, you might be struggling, right? Unless you are a vendor and you take items at a discounted percentage and make a very small percentage at it right back. However, during the slowdown, right, vendors are also struggling, as you have seen a lot of other YouTubers state that their sales are down. So this is why, as of right now, this is a buyer's market. You have to literally make plays right now if you want to build inventory, especially if you are a small business and you struggle sourcing products, right? Me personally, I'd always go on a second market. I look for discounts. You also have to try to play the volume game, which is what I do. I grade tons of cards with CGC. Yes, right, not everyone loves CGC. However, I use volume to try to get a very clean margin on it. That also includes going into local card shops, right? If you are lucky enough and you have decent card shops around you, you might be able to find some clean copies. However, that is not scalable, right? Like you're not going to be able to scale anything, your business, collection, or anything you're looking for if you are just buying one or two cards whenever you have the chance, right? Like you have to take bigger chances. You have to take bigger risk. And if they come back not as planned, you have to take the L. It's all part of the game. It's all part of, just building, it's all part of scaling, right? Like, yes, you may see some of the larger businesses, right, that they post, how to be a business, how to scale from blah, 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 blah to this multi-six figures and seven figures. But what they don't tell you is how they struggle. Sourcing is always going to be a bottleneck, is always going to be the largest issue. If you are a grader, you are going to struggle finding clean cards everywhere, right? Especially now that everyone is trying to grade their cards, everyone is looking for the cleanest copy. You are going to have to find different ways, right? And some people have tried, right? Which is why you've seen the boom in Korean cards, right? You've seen booms in Chinese cards, right? You've seen the boom in Japanese cards, although Japanese have always, have his own lane, right? But people have been trying to figure this out. However, the biggest thing is that during a down market, you are not going to be able to move some of these items, right? You're going to get stuck holding the bag, and that is very unfortunate. You have to learn, right? Which is what I've mentioned before. You have to learn how to sell. If there is a hype, if there is a liquidity event, right, for some of these cards, different languages, you have to sell into the strength, right? It is very unfortunate what's happening right now with other TCGs. They are drawing liquidity from Pokemon, as you can see. And the unfortunate thing is that some people are going to get stuck holding a bag. For example, Power World, right? Yes, it has the largest Steam, player count, blah, blah, blah. Dudes, like if you are buying Power World right now at $200 and something, you might get wrecked, right? Just make sure that whatever capital you're deploying, you are okay with it going straight to zero, right? Although let's be fair, right? Like it doesn't go straight to zero, as we've seen from MetaZoo, right? Like you might still be able to get some of the money back if you try to sell back into the market. However, you might get wrecked, right? So, be very careful with all these other TCGs. The only reason they're actually flourishing right now is because Pokemon is going sideways, right? So people are looking to deploy capital somewhere else, right? Pokemon is starting to get a little bored, starting to get a little stagnant, and that's what happens, right? Capital flows to other alternative TCGs, and it doesn't help that other YouTubers start covering it and pumping their own bags, right? So just wanted to say to be very aware and to be very careful, right? Bringing it back to sourcing. Yes, right? You have to figure out and take bigger chances just to, try to build your collection / business. So just to wrap it all up, be very careful out there. I know if you have to take a bigger chance, you may end up with bigger losses. However, that is just part of it. Right? Most businesses do fail. Just because you see some YouTubers say that, hey, this is lucrative, this is worth doing, you might have to work more than what you can make in another part-time job, right? You have to pack orders, you have to deal with customers, you have to source inventory, which takes hours of your time every now and then to try to find clean cards on eBay or TCG players, right? If they have pictures, right? So just keep that in mind whenever you are trying to deploy capital. If you're a collector, enjoy your cards, right? It's always fun filling in a binder and collecting master sets, right? I'm there, I'm trying to tap a little more into that side, right? So always keep in mind, always be aware, and don't believe everything you hear online, right? People always show a different persona. So just be aware, and we are going to see in the next couple of years where everything goes and who's still here. So if you enjoy this content, please give a like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you all in the next one. Peace.